If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
And that was a sentiment of everyone in North Korea on Saturday. Good evening, folks. This is Jen and Rick. I'm one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. I'm joined by the other half of the crew, Miss Jen Homestead. Good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Been taking pot shots at the middle midget all week, so I had to get another one in.
Nice.
But yeah, so lots of stuff going on in the news. We actually really haven't had much of a chance to coordinate today, so is there anything particular you want to talk about first?
I just wanted to say something about something that just came across my feed, actually. So there were, I don't know if everybody has heard, but there was a shooting in downtown Fresno today, in which the AP, it spawned a hashtag today of AP quotes, where people misrepresent something, because AP quoted that the man said, "God is good," as he murdered these three people, when in reality he said, "Allahu Akbar." And people can argue the semantics of whether that actually is what it means or not. The fact of the matter, though, is he did not in English yell, "God is good," and shoot people. He yelled the Islamic phrase, "Allahu Akbar." So it's just interesting, though, because this just came across my feed, that the Fresno police chief, Jerry Dyer, says that he believes the fatal shootings of another aspect to this was that he said he hated white people before he did this. So the police chief of Fresno is officially saying that he believes the fatal shootings of three white men are a hate crime. I don't know of any successful prosecutions of hate crimes against white people in this country. Maybe there have been a few here or there, but it's certainly not the norm. So I thought that was a pretty interesting and also bold thing for the Fresno police chief to say.
It does seem a little out of place for Fresno, though.
Fresno is a different breed of California, though, I must say.
Oh, I know.
It's kind of like Bakersfield. They're a little bit more, they're less urban and cosmopolitan, which also reads less progressive.
Yeah, no, and I get that. Actually, one of the folks I interviewed at CPAC was from California, was conservative. He's like, "I promise I'm not the only one." I said, "Sometimes I wonder." But, back to the whole thing with the AP, because it's an interesting thing. Because what because it changes the entire connotation. Because, look, we can argue all day long whether the actual literal translation of Allahu Akbar is God is great or whatever you want to say. But when you take the use of the Islamic language out of the equation, the Arabic language out of the equation, let me get that straight, then it changes the entire connotation of the headline, which I think is what AP was going for. Because when you read shooter yells God is great in the headline before killing 3 people, the first thing that you think of if you don't actually read the article is, wait, there's a Christian that just went on a rampage? Because I know that's what I thought until I saw the other headlines.
Right, and particularly if they don't also address the, racial slurs, and people can argue about that too. Oh, you can't be racist against white people. Okay, well, if it's a race, then you can be. And so they also said, they hate white people. So if that's not included also in whatever you read and you just see that they said God is good, then yeah, you do pretty immediately think in this Western world, you think Christian.
And I think AP kind of did that by design, because there would have been a way to avoid that entire situation. Because if they were worried that people wouldn't understand what they were actually shouting, they could have said that the shooter shouted God is great in Arabic before opening fire. They didn't do that anywhere in the headline. And everyone knows in this day and age when we have nothing but clickbait and just that's what they want. They want a headline that grabs you so you click on the link. Everyone knows that was what they were going for. They made a clickbait headline because now they had every single leftist in the world clicking on that link going, oh wait, did a Christian finally go shoot somebody up? Can we finally start comparing Christian to Islam again like we love to do so much? And they can't. They can't compare Christianity to Islam because there was an entire reformation in Christianity that's never existed in Islam. But the fact that the AP continues to go out of their way to paint anyone who is not Islamic in the worst possible light, and to do so with shady headlines, and people wonder why we're so tired of fake news. What irritates me about fake news, though, is it happens on all sides now. It used to be basically a liberal kind of thing, where they would find a way to slant something a little bit, tweak the headline here and there, get it to become clickbait. Now, unfortunately, the so-called right is finding the same way to do that as well. And I don't consider anybody that makes their money on fake news to be right-leaning, even if they call themselves that, because it's just crap to me. Because we used to be the folks that stood up and yelled about the truth. Now we have an entire industry around us basically telling people what they want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this is just another, like you said, it's just the headlines. I mean, there was even one from Politico today. The alt-right's favorite team visits the White House. And it's a picture of the Patriots. Like, come on. They're just looking for ways in which to, first of all, kind of demonize and put a negative spin on certain things. And then they're also looking to get that click, and that's better left to BuzzFeed. Please be actual journalists.
The whole thing is annoying because it's like I said, that the fact that because everybody knows what Allahu Akbar means. If you live in America in this day and age, you know what it means when somebody shouts that. You also know that it's usually the preamble to something really bad happening. It's kind of like when a redneck yells, "Hold my beer," but not in a good way. It's terrible. Because they changed the entire connotation of the article by translating that to English and not clarifying. And that infuriates me. And they got called out for it, which is great, but it doesn't undo the damage. Because how many people were reading through that article and the first thing they were hoping for, again, was a way to compare Christianity to the so-called religion of Islam? I don't consider Islam a religion. Islam is actually an entire governmental system. Christianity is not that way. Islam is a very intrinsic governmental system that basically controls every aspect of your life. That is not what Christianity does. Everybody likes to think that that's what it does if they don't understand what it is. But once you actually come to understand what it is, you realize it's not in any way the way it's usually portrayed by the left and by the media. But at the same time, because they cannot, for some reason, we cannot have an honest, open discussion about Islam in this country anymore. We can't. It gets pushed on us in any way possible. It gets glossed over anytime they do something that they shouldn't do. I mean, there's an entire group that we know is tied to the Muslim Brotherhood that has regular access to 50 capitals across this country. It's the Council for American Islamic Relations. They are and has been documented to have been tied to the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas, and yet they have free reign and access to the capitals in this country through all 50 states because they have become a lobbyist group, and nobody wants to call them what they are. And it's because of things like this, because it always gets glossed over. For one, I'm done glossing it over, and I'm done reading anything that glosses it over.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is just becoming so unbelievable, really, how they continue to avoid the actual issues, causes, whatever you want to call it, inspiration for so many of these insanely murderous acts, and try to turn them into some, I don't know, a little bit of a cultural or social conflict, and they don't want to call it what it is. It's just, it is exhausting. I'm tired of it.
I mean, for one, I'm tired of seeing it in the news almost every single day. I mean, there's some sort of clash going on somewhere around the world between Islam and Christianity every single day, pretty much every single minute of every single day. If you actually went through and you found it, you could find article after article after article about clashes of one kind or another going on in pretty much every country when it comes to these two religions. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of us namby-pambying around with it and not calling Islam what it is. This is not a religion. This is a cult. I'm done calling it a religion. This is a cult, and it is a cult of the worst order because it's another one of these situations where the only people that matter are the ones that believe exactly the same way you do, in exactly the same manner that you do, and in all the right steps. And that's not what this country was founded upon. We were supposed to be a country that came together and actually thrived in spite of our differences, and actually in some ways thrived because of our differences, because we allowed people to be different. We don't do that anymore. Each side is so busy attacking anything that they don't understand anymore that it's just done and it's over. I mean, you can't even, as a conservative, half the time I still get in fights on Twitter with other conservatives because if I say something that I disagree with about Trump, all of a sudden I'm a leftist. And then I still, to this day, even though I just try to shoot it down the middle and say, look, I think he did good here, I don't think he did good there. No matter who's listening to whatever I'm saying, I'm either a leftist or I'm an alt-right Nazi. I'm worn out. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. I'm tired of the media painting everything with such a broad brush that we can't even talk about what is really going on in this country. We literally have people that apparently are part of a group that want to kill us in this country, and they keep doing it in small ways. Eventually, it's not going to be small ways anymore. We need to do something.
Yep, absolutely. But I mean, framing things framing things accurately is not exactly the forte of the media as of late, at least in the last 10 to 15 years. They consistently blow headlines. They mislead. They purposely, omit things, facts. Even they manipulate data. And here's just yet another example. The New York Times puts out tonight, will it be a referendum on Trump? Join us for live analysis of Georgia's hotly contested special election. And then the subtitle goes on to say that it's the most important election since the presidential one in November. We are talking about one district, Georgia 6, one district that Trump won by 1 percentage point in 2016. But totally a referendum, guys. Totally a referendum if the Democrats are to win that seat, which, by the way, it looks like they're not going to do. So this is one of those things that it just goes, seriously? Like, this is how they phrased it. Will it be a referendum on Trump? Join us for live analysis of Georgia's hotly contested special election, the most important election since November 2016. One district in Georgia. One that was not even very Republican to begin with. One. It's just absurd, and they're getting away with it.
And it still sounds like they're not going to manage to win it. So will it be a referendum on Trump? Probably
That
not.
is what's hilarious. But what I'm saying is, even if they did win it, is it a referendum when Trump only won that district by 1 point to begin with? That's not a referendum. If he'd won it by 50% and it turned Democrat, that would maybe be what you would call a referendum. Maybe even 20%. I'd even give you 14%. But 1 point does not a referendum make, in my book. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
Well, referendum means different things to different people. Kind of like
it means different things to different people based on how they want it to mean so that it suits their agenda and narrative.
Kind of like apparently we have functional intercontinental missiles mean something different to the leader of North Korea than it does to anybody else. So, words are words, but just because you can string them together doesn't mean that they mean what you think they mean. It's not a referendum, even if they lose that seat. I mean, not only is it not a referendum, but it's really not going to make that much difference because, we're talking about one seat in one district and the House numbers are much larger than. It's not like all of a sudden Nancy Pelosi is going to be sworn in as the majority leader because they lose that one seat. And like you said, it looks like they're not even probably going to lose that seat anyway. So my better question is, since Trump only won it by 1 percentage point, when the Democrats lose that seat, if they lose the seat, is it a referendum against the Democrats?
I mean, if you want to go on what their definition seems to be of referendum, then yeah.
Seriously, though.
Why not?
If during the election they managed to get it to the point where Trump only won that entire district by 1 percentage point, and the Republicans actually come away with that seat, even though it was a hotly contested zone for that barely swung to Trump, couldn't we use their same logic to say, hey, remember that referendum that you were just talking about? Kind of looking like we had a referendum on the other end. And again, right now I'm counting chickens before they hatch because we don't know how that election's going to go. But regardless of how it goes, it's not going to be the end-all, be-all of the politics for the coming election season. It's just not. And that's how the Democrats are trying to paint it. But they have to paint it that way because they have a base that is snoring right now. You either have a base that's snoring right now or you have a base that is curled up under their bed in the fetal position waiting for the bomb to drop.
Yep.
And that's really all they have right now. They literally cannot cope with the fact that Hillary Clinton did not win this last election. And now here we are months later, and they're still saying things like resist. Resist what? Trump won. What are you going to do? You guys are the ones that want safe spaces and teddy bears and coloring books, and you're going to say that you're going to resist the people that actually care about things like the Second Amendment and know how to use weapons if it comes to that? Are you literally thinking this concept through? Your so-called resistance? What is it that you're resisting? What is it that you're actually accomplishing? Absolutely nothing except making yourselves look like the Neanderthals that you keep saying that we are. Which is in itself ironic.
Well, they don't understand those things. They don't get those things real good, Rick.
Apparently not.
No. We're the hillbillies, though. We're the rednecks. We're the dumb bigots. They don't get them good.
Speaking of hillbillies, hold my beer. Oh, man. Dude, I don't know. The news cycle has been all over the place today. Speaking of which, I wanted to make sure that I touched on something that I was given earlier. Because there has been a bit of a break in a long-standing disappearance case. Apparently, the first child that ever wound up on a milk carton, looks like it was the Eaton Pats case. Pedro Hernandez gets at least 25 years in 1979 missing boy case, and this is from CBS News. About 4 decades after first grader Eaton Pats set out for school and ended up at the heart of one of America's most influential missing child cases, a former store clerk convicted of killing him was sentenced to at least 25 years in prison. In a few angry words, Eaton's father condemned the convicted man, Pedro Hernandez. After all these years, we finally know what dark secret you had locked in your heart. Stan Patz said, I will never forgive you. The God you pray to will never forgive you. You are the monster in your nightmares. So, Looks like, and from what I understand, this is apparently the first time that the milk carton ever had the picture of the missing kid on there. So I'm not... That's kind of a sad precedent to think about, but at least we now know who was convicted of the crime and that they have been sentenced. I think 25 years might be a little light, but the dude looks pretty old from the picture, so I'm pretty sure he'll probably be in there till he dies.
Yeah, it looks like he's 56. So he's 56, and this happened 3 decades ago.
Yeah, actually rounding the corner towards 4.
So he was in his, early 20s, late teens when he did this. Can you imagine? That is sad and sick. Yeah, 38-year-old case. Oh my gosh, he was like 18 years old. That's insane.
Okay, so I guess I was reading something wrong on that article. It looks like it's actually 25 to life. But when the article just kept talking about 25 years, I never read the life part.
Yeah, was sentenced to the maximum of 25 years to life in prison, which probably means, a lot of times what that means is that it's at least 25 without parole.
Yep.
So
he'll serve a minimum of 25 years before he's even up for parole, and by then he probably won't be breathing anymore anyway. So,
right, he'll be in his 80s.
There's always that.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Milk carton kid.
Yeah, the very first kid that ever wound up on the back of the missing milk carton thing. Finally, the family got justice. And that's the thing. Everybody says that, but can you really get justice if somebody takes a child from you, no matter what happens? I mean, let's just be real. I mean,
legally, yes. Legally, there can be justice. There is a judicial obligation, and there can be justice there. But as far as it goes personally and for the human condition, absolutely not. There is no justice. There is no, even if you get vengeance, like there is nothing. There is nothing that rectifies that.
No, I mean, absolutely nothing. As a parent, that's like always been my worst nightmare because you see it in the news every single day. And it's just, that's just always kind of in the back of your mind, especially if you have OCD like I do. Your kids leave and you're like, okay, do they have their cell phone? When's the last time I texted them? I drive my daughter especially crazy when she leaves the house because I'll text her like every 5 minutes. What are you doing? What are you doing? Where are you at? She's like, Dad, leave me alone. I'm on a date. I'm 21 years old. Leave me alone. I don't care. You still live in my house, so I'm allowed to obsess. Leave me alone. Yes, I get it. I sound crazy, but that's okay.
It's just such a terrible thing to even have to think about, much less go through.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I was thinking about that earlier. There's just really no way. I mean, there can, like you said, there can be legal justice, but I don't really think as a father that I could ever really consider that justice because he's still alive and my child's gone. I just, as a father, I don't think I could wrap my head around that. Sadly, unfortunately, another bit of news that I wanted to get to, we'll probably have to hold till we get back from the break. It's not really much better, though. We're going to take this story local for just a second. There's been an incident here in Oklahoma today that I want to discuss. And we'll be back here in just about 4 minutes. We're going to go ahead and take the break just about a minute or so early. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. We're going to take it here in a bit. I forgot. The wife just left to go pick up my son from the track meet. So to make sure we don't have too much background noise, probably save the break till I see their headlights. So let's just keep going for right now that I've called on everybody and confused the heck out of everything.
About this local story.
All right, so there was an actual incident today involving a deputy in central Oklahoma. He was actually, hang on, I'm trying to get the article to pull up, and sadly all I'm finding right now is an audio clip that I'm not sure is going to run, so bear with me for just a moment. Okay, here we go. He was a deputy for Logan County here in Oklahoma. A sheriff's deputy died in an Oklahoma hospital Tuesday afternoon, hours after officials said he was shot by a man in Logan County, according to multiple reports. Deputy David Wade End of watch 4/18/17. And basically the story goes on to describe that the deputy was trying to serve an eviction notice. He was attacked by someone within the home, was shot multiple times, once to the face, multiple times to his body armor. The assailant stole the deputy's patrol car, drove several miles away, carjacked someone else, and is now officially in custody. But that was in question for a time. Unfortunately, they attempted to do CPR on the scene. The deputy was medi-flighted from Logan County to University of Oklahoma Health Center here in Oklahoma City, and unfortunately, he died from his injuries on scene. So, or at the hospital. So he did pass earlier this afternoon. I think it was around 1:30. So,
wow. That is incredibly sad.
I mean, I guess the good news is Aaron LaForce, who was the suspect, has actually been identified and is now in custody. But it's just, or I guess Nathan Aaron LaForce is actually his name. But I mean, at least he's in custody. But I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's kind of trippy for me. One, I used to wear a badge and a gun for a living back in the day. Two, the guy's not that much older than me. He has about a year and a half on me, and he has a wife and 3 kids that are now going to be without him.
Yeah, it's incredibly sad. I think that this just kind of highlights why, even if you're not like gung-ho, I know so many like very small government, almost anti-government types, and I'm not too far from that, but this is one of those situations where you think about that, like there are a lot of these people that go to work every day to serve and protect, and yes, they're a branch of the government and they're an arm of it, and there are plenty of people that are not great at their job, just like they are in any other job, or are too authoritarian, and I understand why people think, especially in certain cities, that police are overly authoritarian. But in general, these people do a service to their communities, and they go to work and go to do things like serve an eviction notice in which they don't think that they should be in any sort of danger, and they don't walk away. And it's an extremely volatile job, basically. You just kind of never know. It's always up in the air. And it's extremely sad when someone who is just working to serve their community and their family meet the end this way.
It's just disturbing. And I was actually talking about that with the missus today when we were watching the show that was actually being DVR'd while the incident actually broke on the news. And it's sad because I don't know if we notice it more now because we're out in the country, but it just seems like every single day there is some sort of story about some sort of drunk driver that nearly kills people in the middle of rush hour traffic at lunchtime, some sort of a shooting, some sort of a bank robbery, some sort of a school lockdown, or this is now the second police officer to be slain in Oklahoma for the calendar year so far. It's only been 4 months, folks. We have a population, I believe at last count, we were at 3,750,000 people, and we've already had 2 police officers slain since January.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just getting to the point where you really just you can't feel safe anywhere. I mean, we're talking about the shooting in Berkeley today, and then we have the shooting here. We've had just countless incidents lately where it seems like there was an incident not too long ago where the leftist and supposed Trump supporters kind of were having a clash in the middle of a town somewhere. That sadly the information escapes me for the moment. But it just seems like, I don't know if it's because it's always what's highlighted on the news anymore, but it just seems like that's all you see. I mean, it's bad stuff everywhere, every second of every single day, and it's no wonder so many people have just given up hope and decided that they're going to live their life, watch some TV, eat a TV dinner, and go to work and come home and pay their bills and not pay attention to anything else. Because what's the point?
Right. I mean, it's becoming, and like you said, I don't know if it's just because we're focused on it more. It's being broadcast more widely whenever there's an incident with officers. We just seem to be more aware of it. But it does seem to be in 2016 than 2017 a more dangerous position to be in than it had been previously. Which is probably not supported by data at all, but that's how it feels.
I guess that's the worst part about it is it's honestly probably not any different than it has been in the past. It's just being perceived as so much worse. I guess that's the downside to being in the information age, because you can literally find anything if you know where to look. That's like something else that I was going to bring up, because it was kind of a heated little Twitter discussion today. There are apparently an entire group of people on Twitter that seem to think that the next big push as far as changes in social mores need to be love between adults and children. And there are people that are perfectly okay with it. They even have a name that they call it, and I can't think of it at the moment. But it was just weird because they've actually started a label. And I'm going to see if I can find the tweet so I can, because when I read it, I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. But sadly, I've been tweeting a lot today, so it may take me a second to find it. Hang on.
How dare you?
I don't usually tweet so much on show days, but it's been kind of a heavy day.
How dare you tweet?
I know,
that
right?
It's crazy. It's where we get most of our sources and news and all of our fun. How dare you be doing that?
I know, right? I have so many other things that I should be doing. Oh, that's what it was. I'm not going to mention the person who put the tweet together, but this is an actual tweet, and this was actually dated from today. Pedosexual relationships are a good mentor system and also help with emotional development. This is a fact. #heart progress. What?
Say what?
Okay, so this one deserves that.
What the hell is that?
Absolutely.
I mean,
what?
I mean, what the hell does that even mean? What the hell is a pedosexual relationship? So you're basically saying that, I mean, and the whole Twitter thread is just it's insane. There's actually somebody that shows a graph of how often prepubescent girls actually can have orgasms within a certain number of times in a day, and yada yada yada, and that obviously this means that children are sexual beings too, and there's nothing wrong with adults that love children. And I'm just like, you just really need to stop talking. You just need to stop. You need to deactivate your Twitter account and just stop.
Yeah, please just do everybody a favor and just shut the up.
I mean, I don't get it. I mean, look, we can argue till the cows come home about homosexuality, but this is not a popular stance for me to take, but I take it all the time anyway. And again, I'm not telling anybody else what they should feel or think. I'm giving you my perspective, and that's it. When we decided that was a line that we were willing to push and say, you know what, so maybe this is okay because they're consenting adults, they're human beings, they should be able to decide if they want to tick tab A into slot B or if they want to play swords. Whatever they want to do, that's up to them. They're adults. And I kept telling everybody, look, you can make that decision as a rational adult. You can. But you need to understand there are even worse subsects of our population that are not rational. They don't come at things from a rational perspective. So I want, just for a second, I want to highlight all the things that have come crawling out of the woodwork since we decided that homosexuality was okay. And you can hate me for saying this, I don't care. But since we have decided to normalize homosexual relations and decided that people can marry whomever they choose as long as they're consenting adults and everybody's okay with it, we now have a group called the transabled that have suddenly decided that even though they're born perfectly healthy, they identify with having a disability, and in some cases will even harm themselves to make sure that by the time it's said and done, they have the disability. We also now have more attention on transgendered folks who are willing to chop parts off or add parts in to make sure that they fit better with what they think they are in their own heads rather than what they are based in science. We now also have people that have decided it's okay to love children too, even if that means physical love and even if it's basically causing detrimental harm to children because they don't understand this type of thing and you're abusing them. Plain, simple, and period. These are the things that we have allowed to come to the forefront because we decided as a society that we were going to push the envelope just one more time. And you can say whatever you want to say about me. I have friends that are gay. I have friends that are bisexual. I have friends that are lesbian. And I will tell them the same thing I'm telling you right now. What you do in your own bedroom, as long as it's with an adult, is your own damn business, but don't expect me to recognize it, endorse it, or support it, because as far as I'm concerned, we are people that were created to be one man, one woman. That's it. You get married, you leave your family, you marry a woman, you have a family of your own. That's it. End of story, end of discussion. If you don't like that statement, I don't care. But all I know is when we decided it was okay to kick the can, all the worms came out of the can, and I don't like it.
Yeah, and they don't exactly stuff back in either.
No, because once they're out, they're out. It's like trying to put the chicken back in the egg when the shell breaks. You can't do it. Because now what is going to happen is they are going to inundate society every way they can, in every instance of every way that they can. Social media, news reports, whatever they can do to say, hey, we're people too. We deserve rights. This is normal even if you don't like it. And on that note, we are going to have to take a break because I just saw headlights. So we'll be back here in about 3 or 4 minutes. This is Jen and Rick. We're live right now on KLRMradio.com. And yes, I know I'm irritating people tonight. I don't care. We'll be back.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell. I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.
All right, folks, welcome back. This is Jen and Rick. We are actually getting pretty close to the end of the show because we took the break a little bit late to try to keep things rolling a little more smoothly than they would have been with a herd of folks coming back from a track meet. On that note, though, I realized I have talked most of the show, so we're down to about 10 minutes. Is there anything you want to talk about on the way out? Because I realized I've been doing a lot of ranting tonight.
Oh, no, it's fine. I can't think of a lot off the top of my head. I just think this entire we've got several things going on where you've got the media, as always, is just such a thorn in everybody's side. And I feel like I've been noticing more and more. We saw it during the election with Breitbart and Summa Drudge and whatever, but more and more I'm seeing the counterpart of the far left media in the far right and freaking out about things that don't need to be freaked out about and outrage over things that are not necessarily outrageous and getting offended about things that you shouldn't be offended about. Like I saw something today about Sesame Street has introduced a new character this week. And it's a little girl and she is autistic. Now, this is nothing new to the Sesame Street world. They introduce children gently to things like various disabilities. And I think it's a great thing to do. And the other characters ask questions, and there's always an adult around that's like kind of guiding them through what the deal is with this disability, with this character. And this is a pretty mild thing, right? Like this seems pretty innocent and sweet. And this is a great way, of course, like this is something that they're going to encounter and need to deal with. And so teach them young and in a very subdued and very controlled way. And there are people on the far right that are basically making this out to be the same as they would if this was like a transgender character or, you know, an outwardly gay character or something like that. Like this, we're talking about a spectrum of a condition that affects so many people, and the likelihood of your child knowing, whether it's a friend, a family member, a classmate, someone, knowing someone that is somewhere on the spectrum of autism is very high. And to act as if this is some sort of outrageous, like, social push for normalcy of something that is not good is crazy. I wanted to say, like, does this person even know what autism is? Do they think it's like some sort of deviancy, some sort of sin? It's not. It's something someone develops and sometimes is born with. And I mean, this is such a faux outrage. It's something silly and stupid. And it's where I go, oh my gosh, sometimes our side has people on it that are no better than the other side that has people that go crazy. I mean, this is nothing to be offended about. Have you heard about this at all?
Yeah, actually, it was a deal on 60 Minutes about 2 or 3 weeks ago where they actually did a full interview with the cast and the reason why they were adding the character, and that it actually started as because PBS has some online stuff that's been going on with Sesame Street for a while. It actually started as kind of a PBS short thing. And they were getting such positive attention and feedback from the little online shorts they were doing with the autistic character that they decided to bring her over to Sesame Street itself. Now, what concerns me is because I had been noticing some of the same things that you've been noticing. There is a big difference between a lot of the things that our side gets upset about, because I've been ranting about most of those tonight, and autism. Autism is not any type of a deviancy or a choice or anything else. And if anything, we need to have more exposure to what it actually means to be autism, and this proves it. Because if you don't even understand what it is, how in the world are your children going to be able to cope with it if you're basically, well, anybody that, I mean, what, are we going back to the days where anybody that's autistic is possessed by the devil? Is that why these people are getting upset and frustrated? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I see this as such a positive thing, and I feel like for generations, really, it seems like Sesame Street has done an excellent job of, like I said, very gently, tenderly, thoughtfully introducing some conditions, diseases, disabilities, whatever. You may think there's pretty much an episode for kind of almost anything like that. Being introduced to children, and it much like teaching them that, you know, there's not anything to be scared of in regards to different colors of skin or different abilities that one might have, or you know, who just also what your religion is, all of those kinds of things. I mean, this is one more way in which they're like introducing that there are a lot of different people. There are a lot of different things in this world. And sometimes there are afflictions that people have, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad or good. And to allow children to kind of chew that over and turn it over their mind. I actually got to watch a clip today that I thought was really interesting. You know, Big Bird is talking to a little girl and she's painting. And he says something several times. And the adult says, it's okay, Big Bird. He's like, well, I guess she doesn't like me or doesn't hear me. No, Big Bird, it's not that. She doesn't not like you. Sometimes she doesn't register things the way that you do, and she doesn't always understand. So asking the question again is helpful, and it may take her some time to understand you and to respond. But it's not your fault, and it's not hers either. You know, that kind of thing. And those are very simple ways to explain to kids that sometimes there are going to be these kinds of people that they're going to meet, and that also not just to understand who this person is and that they might learn differently, they might speak differently, they might behave differently, but also that for a child, Big Bird's reaction is what a lot of children would have, which is, oh, I guess she doesn't like me, it's my fault. I should leave her alone because she's not responding, so she hates me. And that is the more childlike reaction to something like that. Not like, oh, something's wrong with that person necessarily, but something's wrong with me, they don't like me. So it's teaching a lesson on both sides. And so I just think it's fantastic. I know way too many I have several friends with autistic children. One very, very dear friend who has a very, very autistic child that will always be childlike and never progress much beyond that. My brother-in-law's brother was severely autistic, almost non-functioning, and he passed in the last few years. It's just a thing that's dear to my heart, and I think it was something I didn't know a lot about growing up, and I think that it's absolutely a worthy and admirable endeavor by Sesame Street to try to help everyone kind of understand what you may be dealing with in meeting someone who is autistic or possibly having someone in your life and your family that is. So everyone else needs to just pipe down. This is not a big deal. Quit trying to turn it into some weird thing.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is this is becoming more and more important because as time progresses, the chances of actually knowing someone or having someone in your family that is autistic is actually increasing tenfold with every generation. I remember when they first started talking about it back when I was a little kid, back around some of the first memories I can remember. They had first started talking about this thing called autism, and it was like, 1 in every 4,000 or 5,000 kids was diagnosed with autism. Now today it's like 1 in every 100. It's insane. And I'm pulling the numbers out of the air right now because I don't have them in front of me, so don't quote me on the exact number. But I do know that it's gotten to the point where it's
yes, and that is true. And I do know that some of that is because they've broadened the spectrum. So things that didn't used to be considered on the spectrum now are. So now that increases the number. In addition to not properly diagnosing things before. So there were some things that sometimes were diagnosed as other disorders that are now recognized as on the autistic spectrum and are autism as opposed to some other sort of thing. So that's part of the reason for the increase in numbers. People can get very, very wackadoo about how, it's all these other things that are causing it. A lot of it boils down to that we are able to identify it better, address it better, and diagnose. And because what we consider autistic now has expanded quite greatly over the last decade than it ever was before. And that's where you get the spectrum. And certain things are considered on the spectrum now that were not necessarily considered autistic before. But yeah, people are going to be affected. People are going to know someone that is autistic, and I think it's almost as it's just as important as knowing that there's just something about this, and that is something that someone has to deal with, and that you also may need to learn how to kind of maneuver through life with, the same way that everyone has to when they first meet someone who has any other sort of disability, or even not necessarily a disability, but a disorder of some sort that, makes them have to handle life a little bit differently than the average person. And I don't think there's anything wrong with teaching kids not only about that, but also how to be loving, compassionate, and understanding towards any kind of condition or disability. So anybody who is having outrage over this Sesame Street character can just piss up a rope in my book.
Oh, that's something I haven't heard in a long time. That's a Southern saying, though. So actually, it's kind of it's a Texas Okie saying, because my dad used to say that all the time. Boy, quit pissing up a rope. But anyway. Actually, one last bit of news, and then I guess it's about time for us to get out of here. This is actually kind of coming across from what appears to be Wall Street Journal reports. Fox News preparing to axe O'Reilly, Murdoch's Wall Street Journal reports. Rupert Murdoch's Wall Street Journal reports that amid the host sexual harassment controversy, Fox News is preparing to end its decades-long relationship with host Bill O'Reilly. The conservative political pundit has been under fire since a scathing New York Times article detailed over $13 million in legal settlements paid out by O'Reilly and the network to female staffers who raised sexual harassment allegations against him. In the wake of the news, O'Reilly's nightly program lost a slew of blue-chip advertisers, and there have been calls for the resignation or firing across the country, including a protest held by women's rights groups outside the Fox News headquarters on Tuesday. A final decision on Mr. O'Reilly's fate could come as early as the next several days, according to the Wall Street Journal report. So things are not necessarily looking up for the no-spin zone.
Doesn't sound like it. I kind of wondered how soon this would be coming down.
It just, what disturbs me, I guess, because, these are the same. O'Reilly was one of the ones that was the most vocal about the Clinton situation in the 90s.
Yeah, and doesn't that kind of always tend to be the case? Like, people that are, very outspoken and against, I don't know. And I still, sadly, this is one of those things.
Sadly, you're right. I mean, the same thing happened here in Oklahoma. There was a state legislator who was actually pretty outspoken against some laws that we had tried to pass here to lessen drug offenses, and that he was working on trying to get certain things reinstated about, you couldn't be in possession of anything narcotic-wise within so many feet of a school, etc. And we'd actually tried to toss most of that and started trying to start moving money towards treatment. He, in his wisdom, though, decided to put bills back on the floor, basically stating that voters didn't really understand what it was that they had voted for, even though we were the ones that voted for it. And then within a couple of months of putting that legislation on the floor, he was actually arrested with an underage male prostitute while smoking marijuana in a hotel room. Allegedly.
Ooh.
Allegedly.
Ooh. Yowzas.
So,
well,
yeah.
And I think even, and I don't know if there's any validity to most of the O'Reilly stuff, or what, and I'm hesitant with any kind of harassment type things that come when you've got either men or women in a position of power and popularity. I always tend to withhold judgment until there's some concrete proof. Doesn't mean that I disbelieve or I'm for or against anything or in anybody's court. I just tend to stay out of it until I know more. So I don't really know where most of this lies as on the truth scale, but it just publicly and for PR sake and everything after everything else they went through with Ailes and Gretchen Moore, all of those things. Gretchen Carlson, they, Fox, it would probably behoove Fox to just move on and to just squash anything of this sort in the foreseeable future. And they've got plenty of popular on-air talent. And I know O'Reilly was king for forever, and he would beat out all other, cable shows. And so that's a hard thing to let go of. But if this was the first thing, they could withstand it. But with everything else that has happened over the last year and a half, I think they have to cut their losses and go ahead and move forward with people that are not having these kinds of rumors and allegations swarming around them.
I just wonder how much more Fox News can take as a brand.
I've thought the same thing about all the other broadcast cable news at various points too, when they've had so many people in hot water and in trouble and they've all survived. I think Fox will take it a little bit harder than the others just because the others have more power and voice to slam them constantly and, throw out bigot, racist, all those kinds of things at them, misogynist, predator, all those things and make it stick a little bit more. But there are still more people that want to watch Fox than want to watch both other networks combined. So I think they'll be okay. But they have to move on. I do think that they have to move on from anything that circulates, that becomes any sort of kind of controversy, scandal, allegation like this involving men harassing women.
No, I completely agree. I've just been kind of keeping up with this whole Georgia situation. It looks like it's going to head closer. It looks like it's going to be a runoff. I don't really see any way around it at this point, I don't think, based on what I'm seeing here. As of 4 minutes ago, they still had Georgia District 6 too close to call. Pundits again. We'll see. Let's see the actual numbers. Of course, nobody's really putting the numbers up. Well, actually, hang on.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I see some people reporting like it's a done deal, like it's not being overturned, and then other people saying it's still too close to call. I can't tell. So we'll see.
Looks like what we have going on that I can see so far as numbers. Looks like John Ossoff with 50.3% of the vote. Karen Handel 18.1%. Judson Hill 10.1%, and Rob Gray 9.6%. So I don't know, because everybody keeps talking about a runoff, but I don't know enough about how the Georgia stuff actually works to tell whether we're going to get a runoff or not.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
That's a great tweet. I don't recognize the name of the person who tweeted it, but they used the GA06 hashtag. It says that GA06 matters to anybody who doesn't live there is a pretty good indicator of the problem of an overly powerful federal government. Yahtzee.
So 18 minutes ago, Decision Desk headquarters said it's very, 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 very likely that John Ossoff faces a runoff against Karen Handel.
Yeah, it looks like it, because it looks like in order to not have a runoff, he would have had to have crossed the threshold of 51.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen. It doesn't seem.
And it doesn't look like he's going to get there, so it looks like we are going to be looking at a runoff. And I just realized we're like 10 minutes into my time slot.
Well, you better get to your own show there.
Actually, I think I'm probably going to run the interview that we did with the Federalist Party guy, because now that we're already 10 minutes in, I'm just going to put that up and probably run it as a live stream, because I haven't done it on Off the Rails yet anyway, so I'm just going to edit some stuff off real quick and just run the whole thing and be done, because I don't feel like being up till 1 a.m. editing stuff. So on that note, if you haven't heard the interview that Dan and I did with J.D. Rucker the other night, stay tuned, because here in just a couple minutes it'll be up again for the entirety of America Off the Rails. And I hope you guys have enjoyed Jen and Rick. We'll be back next Thursday, now that we are officially over 10 minutes into my usual America Off the Rails time slot. For those of you who were tuning in to hear that, there will be an episode up in a minute. Again, it will be a pre-recorded interview that Dan and I did with J.D. Rucker. So if you haven't heard it yet, I do encourage you to hang around and listen, because it was actually a really good interview. And I'll be back with you live tomorrow night. So I guess I will see you when I see you. Good night, Miss Jen. Why don't you remind folks where it is they can hang out with you when you're not on the radio with me?
Sure. Come find me on Twitter at jholmstead, JR Homestead on Facebook, and check out my website with a bunch of other tweets that are dorky, fun, and smart at misfitspolitics.com.
All right, and on that note, folks, we are out. I'll be back here in just a couple minutes with the interview with J.D. Rucker from the Federalist Party. This is Rick Robinson. We'll see you when we see you. Take care. God bless.
I'm not ready to end the fight. I'm not ready to back down. 'Cause I've been through hell and I don't have time to go round and round and round. It's too late to turn back now. You know I wouldn't if I could. 'Cause I'm proud as hell, I can't bring myself to do what it is you think I should.